What's up, everybody? Mark here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to vlog number 4. We are once again headed to Deuce's Poker for a $30 buy-in tournament. That being said, we got some exciting events coming up on the vlog. February 26th, I will be playing a tournament at the game, and I will also be playing one of the 20K guaranteed tournaments at Final Table, probably in March or maybe April, May. So you're going to see bigger buy-in tournaments and different venues coming up on the vlog. So I appreciate everybody sticking around. That's about all I had to say for now. Of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ooh, that's neat. Enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys right after. We look down at ace of spades, 8 of diamonds in the small blind. The action folds around to the cutoff, who limps for 200. The button limps for 200. I'm not a big fan of limping, but I know the player in the big blind is not very aggressive and will most likely check. So I'm getting a good price to call. I therefore complete in the small blind, and the big blind, as expected, checks. We go 4 ways to the flop, which comes deuce ace 10 with 2 hearts. I check. The big blind checks, the cutoff checks, the button bets 650. That's about 3/4 of the pot. I'm happy to call with top pair here, but I'm proceeding with caution in case I'm up against a bigger ace. I call the 650. The big blind folds, the cutoff folds. The turn is the 7 of spades. I check again. The button bets 1500. Again, another big bet, which puts me in an uncomfortable spot. Definitely feels like I might be up against a bigger ace or perhaps a flop set. On the other hand, there's a number of straight and flush draws available, and I'm up against the player who check raise bluffed the vlogger in vlog number 2. So I lean toward a call, and I call the 1500. The river is the ace of clubs. I feel a little bit more comfortable by my hand now, although I still lose to the hands I was losing to on the turn. I feel like the optimal play in this spot would be to check, because the only hand we beat is a weaker ace, and anything else they will most likely fold to a bet, unless they get sticky with a 10. By checking, I also let my opponent bluff with their missed draws, and my hand is strong enough to call. If they have the bigger ace or a boat, then so be it. That being said, I went with my gut here, thinking that I most likely had the best hand, and I didn't want my opponent to check back. I therefore bet 3,500, and the button went all in for 4,000, which is just 500 more. I did not pay attention to their stack, otherwise I would have just put them all in. I obviously called the extra 500, and the button shows 10-7 for turn 2 pair. So we read the situation right on the flop. We were ahead with our ace. They sucked out on the turn, and we re-sucked out on the river. Definitely happy to be taking down this pot here. Alright, strap in for this one because things got a little bit crazy during this hand. I'm in the big blind with queen 6 offsuit. Under the gun limps for 400, low jack folds. The hijack min raises to 800. The cutoff calls 800. The button folds. The small blind completes. At this point, there's 3,200 in the pot, and it's 400 more to me. I don't expect the player to my left to make a squeeze play. I don't really like taking a passive route, but the price is too good to pass, and my hand is definitely too weak to raise, so I call. The under the gun player calls the min raise as well, 800. We go 5 ways to the flop, which comes jack 3 queen with 2 clubs. The small blind checks. I check and flow to see what the original raiser does. I'm happy to try and take this hand down to the river for a cheap showdown. Under the gun player checks. The hijack c-bets for 2,500. The cutoff folds. The small blind folds. It's back to us. I kind of hate the sizing. It looks really strong. That being said, I'm not going to fold top pair just yet, especially against an opponent who I know is capable of making some pretty unorthodox and wild plays. I've seen him open shove for 30, 40 bigs with rags pre-flop in the past. So I call, and the under the gun player comes along as well. We go 3 ways to the turn, which comes the 4 of clubs. I check again, under the gun player checks again, and the hijack goes all in for just over 10,000, which is about a pot-sized bet. I can't say I didn't see this coming. I have to be honest here. I am 3 beers in, and I'm not really thinking clearly. But here's what's going through my head. I have top pair against someone who is capable of doing some really wild plays. Because of that, I am completely torn between a fold and a call. I literally cannot make a decision. I'm thinking of taking a page out of Mariano's book, who likes to call in spots where he's undecided. I also remember that I'm recording a vlog and that I should be providing some entertainment here. You guys are not here to watch a nit fold every time he's facing aggression. So that's what was going on internally. Now, I'm going to let the audio play out so you can hear what happened at the table. You know what? All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to do it for the vlog. Okay. That's good. No, because I'm tired of fucking folding every time. So, for the vlog, all right? I'm calling. Okay. All right? Calling the all in. I got a queen.
Pro chip. Whoa.
Got served.
Pro chip.
I'm sorry.
Did you get that on the vlog?
You said you're going all in.
If your subscribers listen to that, they think that what kind of a player Mark is.
I'm sorry, dude. Fuck.
They may unsubscribe from your channel. No.
I got a queen. Oh, you got a better queen. Yeah, nice.
Oh,
hand, dude.
shit.
Oh, bye. Oh! Oh my god.
Oh shit, I make the holy fucking.
That's the second cooler you made, man.
I didn't even realize I had the fucking flush draw, dude. So yeah, not my proudest moment. First of all, I was so focused on my decision that I completely forgot the under the gun player was still in, and I called out my hand before they had a chance to act. I also did not realize that I was holding the queen of clubs, which gave me a flush draw on the turn. Not that it would have mattered in my decision. I thought the queen alone might be good. So I didn't even realize I won the hand when the 7 of clubs came on the river. I don't believe in sorry in poker, but I empathize with the situation, and I have to give a big shout out to my opponent who took this bad beat like a gentleman. Next hand, I look down at the beautiful ace-queen of diamonds from the small blind. The under the gun player limps for 600, the hijack folds, the cutoff folds, and the button shoves for just a little over 4,000, which is just around 7 big blinds. I don't think my hand is strong enough to flat call with 2 players to act behind me, so I'm debating between 3 betting and straight up jamming all in. In retrospect, I should have taken a better look at the 2 other players' stacks to see what an all-in would effectively be, but I'm assuming it would be somewhere between 10 and 15k, which is around the amount I would 3-bet anyways. So I go ahead and just jam here. The big blind folds, the under the gun player folds, the button shows king 9 offsuit. We go to a showdown, heads up. We see a very safe flop of 10-7-5 with 2 spades. We bank an ace on the turn, and they're drawing dead. An inconsequential 2 on the river, and we win another decent sized pot. Next hand, we're in the big blind. We look down at king jack offsuit. Under the gun limps for 600, the cutoff limps, the button limps, the small blind limps. Combo breaker! I make it 2200. Under the gun player folds, cutoff folds, the button calls the 2200, and the small blind calls as well. We go 3 ways to a flop of deuce ace 4. The small blind checks. I decided to c-bet here for 4,500. I didn't overthink this particular spot. I just think my opponents will have missed on this board very often, and I can represent, ace king, ace queen. So I just try and take it down right there. Again, just following along with my plan of playing more aggressive. And we get a fold from the button, a fold from the small blind, and we pick up the pot. In this next hand, we're on the button and we look down at beautiful pocket kings. It folds around to us, we make it 1500, and then we hear those beautiful words.
All in.
Oh.
Don't stop filming this, okay? This hand is very important. I want it to be on the vlog.
Oh, it's gonna be on the vlog, all right. The big blind folds, we snap call. The small blind shows ace jack offsuit. We go to a showdown. The flop is a very safe 6 queen 9 rainbow, another 6 on the turn, 3 on the river. We dodge the ace, we're running good. We pick up another big pot. Literally the very next hand, I am still stacking my chips. We look down at pocket queens, hello ladies, in the cutoff. Even better, when it folds around to the hijack, they shove for 6,600. I have the blinds to act behind me, and even though queens is a premium hand, I don't feel like just calling, although it might induce a shove, which we would happily call, but I don't want to have either of them calling and then going 3 ways to a flop with pocket queens. It's a great hand pre-flop, but it could be vulnerable on the flop if an ace or a king comes. So I decide to isolate the hijack. I make it 20,000. The small blind folds and the big blind folds. The hijack shows ace 6 offsuit. Can we dodge another ace? Can we do it again? Let's go to a showdown heads up. The flop is 3-8-5 with 2 spades. Another 5 on the turn, another 3 on the river. We do it again. We're running very pure. We pick up a nice pot, and we move to the final table. In our first hand at the final table, we're in the big blind. We look down at king jack offsuit. Under the gun limps for 800, +1 folds, low jack folds, hijack limps, cutoff folds, button folds, small blind completes. We make it 2,500. Under the gun player calls, the hijack calls, the small blind folds. We go 3 ways to the flop, which comes king 9-6 with 2 diamonds. Having flopped a king on this connected wet board, I decide to c-bet on the larger side here. I make it 4,500. The under the gun player calls, the hijack folds. We go heads up to the turn, which is a 4 of clubs. I decide to bet again here. I want to protect my hand against draws. So I make it 7,500 and the under the gun player folds. We pick up a very nice pot. On to the next hand. Let's keep it going. In this next hand, it folds around to the small blind, who completes the 2,000. I look down at 7 deuce suited in the big blind, and I already feel like I'm gonna get in trouble. We check and are happy to see a flop for free. The flop comes 10 ace 4 with 2 diamonds. The small blind checks. I check back. The turn is a 7, pairing our 7. The small blind checks. I bet 2,000. The small blind almost instantly min raises us to 4,000. This is a very strange min raise. I feel like if they had any kind of pair, 2 pair, or set on the flop, they would have bet because the board is very wet and connected. I don't really know where I'm at. This is a spot where I would have folded a lot in the previous episodes, but I decide to stick around this time. If I'm completely honest, I kind of want to win with 7 deuce. I call it 4,000. We go to the river, which is an ace of hearts. The small blind bets 5,000. The river makes it harder for our opponent to have an ace. So their most likely holdings are either a 10 or a bluff. I think it would be hard for them to have a set of 7s since I'm holding a 7. So I go into the tank for a little bit and I decide to call, and as we suspected, the small blind shows us a 10. They have king 10 suited. They take the pot. We spewed off a little bit of our stack here, but in the grand scheme of things, we still have a decently healthy stack. Let's move on. We are 5-handed. Blinds go by quickly. We've been patient, and we get rewarded when we look at the beautiful ace-king suited under the gun. We have just around 9 big blinds. So this is the easiest shove in the world. We put our chips in the middle, the cutoff folds, the button folds, the small blind snap calls, and they have about 14K in their stack, so barely over 2 bigs. The big blind folds, and we go heads up to a showdown. They show ace-10 offsuit. Let's go to a showdown heads up. The flop comes 4-6 queen, all diamonds. Now our opponent has the nut flush draw. No sweat. They hit their flush on the turn. We're drawing dead, and we lose a little bit more of our stack here. More rounds go by. We haven't really picked up any cards that we were happy shoving until we look down at Queen 10 suited, the Portland Nuts in the small blind. The under the gun player goes all in. I am not sure exactly for what amount, but it ends up being all in versus me because the cutoff folds, the button folds, and I have 21K. So let's call it 21K effective. Barely 3 bigs. So Queen 10 suited is good enough to go here. The big blind folds. The under the gun player shows us ace jack offsuit. So we're actually in a pretty good spot given our stack size. Let's go to a showdown. The flop is 5-9 deuce, all diamonds. This doesn't bring good memories for us. The turn is the 3 of clubs. Can we hit a queen or a 10 on the river? No. It's the 7 of hearts. We're out in 5th place when 3 players got paid. Another close to the money finish. GG everybody. See you next time. Damn. Another finish close to the money. We cannot quite go the distance in cash. But, you know, can't really complain. We have been running pretty darn good since starting the vlog. The ace-10 versus ace-king is really like the first bad beat we've taken so far. So, you know, overall pretty happy. And also, I'm realizing that I'm just really enjoying making the vlog, no matter what the results are. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please give me a thumbs up. And again, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.